All right, on to our next step. We're going to take our internet safety list and we are going to put it into Tagxedo. So the first thing you have open here is just your internet safety list, and we want to select the whole thing. So we can either drag and select the whole thing, or as we learned before, Control and A will select the whole thing as well. Now that we have selected it, we need to do a right click and copy. You may get a pop-up that says allow access to your clipboard. You want to choose allow. Then in a new tab, next to the first tab where I'm wiggling here, you're going to choose a new tab and we're going to enter Tagxedo, which is T-A-G-Z-E-D-O, kind of like tuxedo but with tagging something, Tagxedo. Then you'll choose Tagxedo Word Cloud with Styles. This is the tool we're going to use. There's a lot of writing on this first page, but where you want to go is to the Create button and choose that. And Tagxedo will load. As you can see, Tagxedo allows us to put our words into a shape. The shape that this first sample is the shape of a globe, where we see a little bit of North America, South America, a little bit of Africa poking out over here, and they use the words Mother Earth repeatedly to create that Tagxedo. That's the default, and that's what will appear when you first go there. Now we need to enter our words, our internet safety words. So the first place you'll go, and I will just introduce you down the menu here, we're going to go into the load area. And we already did Control C to copy our internet safety words, so we highlighted these and we did a right click copy. And now we're going to go into the large text box here and we're going to do Control V to paste. If you forget that, there's a hint down here where I'm circling, Control A to select all, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. So here is my whole list that appears there, and I can click the Submit button. When I do that, you're going to see it load along the bottom. I can X out of this window, and now we have that same shape, but now it has my internet safety words on it. So I'm highlighting over those words so you can see some of those. Next week we'll print a copy of these, and of course our printable one, the printed one won't be interactive like this one is, but when you have it live on your screen, you can have it be interactive like that. Okay, I'm going to work our way down the list. I want to show you, once you've created a really cool one and you want to save it, this is going to look just slightly different on my screen because I'm not logged into the school network right now, but I want to show you how we can save. So you're going to click Save. It's going to ask you what format you want it in. We're going to choose this 500 JPEG. So just remember 500 in the top row. I'm going to choose that, and it's going to ask me where I want to save it. On your screen at school, you'll have Computer on the left-hand side, but you'll have to double-click Computer and then find your iDrive on the right-hand side. The iDrive is the one with your username on it. I'm sure our guest teacher today can show you how to save to the iDrive, more specifically on the smartboard, so that you can see exactly what that looks like on your school network. So you should save a couple of these today, and then you'll have some to choose from next week when we decide to print. Okay, now let's make this really cool and make it our own. If we respin the color, it's going to keep it in the same color schemes as we have, so these different shades of blue, but if I respin the color, it's just going to change which words are which color in that scheme. Okay? The theme is where we can really get specific with your color choices. So if I use this out arrow here, I can choose, look at all of these choices I have, all these cool colors we can use. So this is how we read these colors. The square around the outside of that box theme is going to be what the background looks like, and the inside is the colors that your words are going to be. So if I choose this one here, we'll see it gets that greenish background with words of this color scheme. If I choose the one above it, we're going to get a nice yellowish background. We can get black backgrounds. We can get white backgrounds. All kinds of choices we have here. So that's how we find the cool colors that you'd like to use. So I'm going to leave it on that one right now and move on to our font. In our fonts, if we use that out arrow, you're going to see that we have choices of lots of different fonts, and that scrolls down as well. So we can select or unselect all of them, and then you can just choose 3 or 4 that you particularly like. Let's say I want to choose those fonts to use for this one. When I X out of that box, then I just need to refresh that font to respin it. And now when I respin it, you'll see that we have those fonts are going to load up. Now my fonts are different because I chose them differently. Mine's a bit cut off on the bottom of the screen, but you'll see right down here you can see those 3 fonts and you can see the theme that I've selected as well. Okay, orientation is kind of fun to play with if we use our out arrow for that. Right now my words are in any order. They're diagonal, they're crisscrossed. I can make them all horizontal, which is all the across way. So if I choose that and let that one load up, we're going to see that all of my words go across. So it changes the look of my word cloud quite a bit. If I choose vertical, they're all going to go the up and down way. And as it loads, we can see it's going to turn those so they're all going up and down. And if I want some across and some up and down, but not the ones that are real diagonal, I can click for the HV, horizontal and vertical, and then I'll get a combination of horizontals and verticals. Okay, I like that one best for now, so I'm going to leave that there. If I want to change the layout, I can just free spin and it will continue to just move those words around. If I want it to just do a little bit more of a random look, and same with my all button here. This is the part you've been waiting for now, and that is the shape. So I'm going to use my out arrow here, and I can choose any sort of shape at all that I want to use. Now, in particular projects, you might want to steer away from particular shapes. For example, if I were doing a word cloud that was all about the Civil War, probably using a witch's hat wouldn't be the best choice. But today, because we're doing internet safety, I'm going to allow you to use any of these shapes because anytime you go online, you want to make sure that the choices you're making are safe, internet friendly, and cyber safe as well. So anytime you were looking up giraffes or hearts or cheetahs or horses, any of these kind of images will work today for our purposes. For my demonstration, I'm going to choose a peace symbol today. So I'm going to choose peace symbol, and you can see it's loading across the bottom, and it's going to take those words and it's going to put them into the shape of a peace symbol. If I go back in there, one of my options I have down here is invert. So if I click on invert, now instead of my words making the shape, my words are going to surround the shape. So let me choose a heart in that inverted mode, and you'll see what I mean. So instead of being the heart filled with words, now the words are going to go around the outside, and the heart shape will be left here in the middle. So that's what happens when you invert. The words are either on the outside of the shape or on the inside of the shape. So that's kind of a fun thing to play around with too. And here's your invert button. There isn't really an undo button on Tagxedo, but there is a history button. So if I click on history, you can see these are the last few that I created today. So instead of doing undo, I can just click on history, and I might say, well, this one was the coolest one that I created. I'm going to go back to that one. If I click on it, it remembers that I was there. And then I could go in and save that one to my iDrive if it was my favorite. Lastly, I'm going to go into this word layout options, and there's lots of features in here you could play with, but the one that I'm most interested in is this tightness factor right here. If you slide this slider to the right side, the words are going to get a little bit tighter together. So if I click accept and let it load, the words are going to get just a little bit closer together, and with some shapes it makes it a little bit more defined. In some it might not work as well, so that's something you can play with if you think your shape doesn't look quite right. Okay, so our first step is going to be to go in and load and paste in your internet safety words and submit, and then you can have the next few minutes to just play around with all the different features you have, being sure to save at least 1 or 2 during this phase today. Enjoy!